Stinywinston. On July 19th at approximately 7:26 a.m., officers responded to 3105 Edgedale Drive for a Czech Welfare Service call. This call was in reference to a prior missing persons report that was made. While officers were en route to this particular call, they received 4 other calls advising that a female was in the street, acting erratically, aggressively. One of the callers even advised that this female described was hitting people. Out of those 4 callers, one of the caller was the mother of this female described, and the mother advised that she wanted officers on scene to assist with her daughter, and she also provided the information that her daughter was known to be aggressive towards males. So the officer en route, the primary officer, is a male officer, so he made the decision based off the information that he was provided from the callers to request a female officer to back him up and assist with this call. When officers arrived on scene, they made contact with Silva. Silva advised that she wanted to hurt herself and that she wanted to hurt the male that sat next to her, and that this male had been with her her entire life. Now, based off this information, the statements she made, and the aggressive behavior, officers determined that she might be in some sort of mental health crisis. So an MHO, which is a mental health officer, was on scene, and he did his due diligence and called nearby hospitals to locate a bed for Silva so that she could get the help that she needed. While speaking with officers, Silva was holding a small dog. In order to transport her safely and make sure that Silva again received the help that she needs, the officer explains to her that she needed to return the dog to her owner and that they were going to take her to the hospital where she could get some help. Based off of Silva's prior aggressive behavior described by callers and her possible current mental state, officers made the decision to handcuff Silva for the safety of not only herself, but others as well, in order to transport her to the hospital, again, so that she could get some help. So when officers attempted to remove the dog and get Silva into handcuffs, she became agitated. A physical disturbance did ensue. During this time of trying to get her into handcuffs, Silva did drop to her knees. The officers were able to retrieve the dog at this point, but then she then proceeded to kick one of the officers twice and also scratched him, causing him pain. Based on what occurred when the officers were attempting to detain Silva so that she could be safely transported, they decided to arrest Silva for assault on a public servant because, again, she assaulted him, causing him injury and pain. So Silva at that point was under arrest for assault on a public servant, which is a second-degree felony, and they took her down to Travis County Jail, where she was booked in for that charge. And to be clear, officers tried several de-escalation techniques. They explained to Silva over and over that they were there to help her. They, again, even before they got on scene, attempted to have a female officer present because they had the prior knowledge that Silva was aggressive towards males. So they tried to explain, they tried to make her comfortable. The ultimate goal was to give Silva the help that she needs, and that's why the officers were there. Unfortunately, it did turn into a violent incident where arrest had to be made, but the beginning or the ultimate goal of the call was to give her the help. And now that she is in the jail, she will still be able to receive the help that she needs. So APD policy is, if suspects are being arrested or even just transported in police vehicles, they shall be handcuffed, which is generally restrained with their hands behind their back. Now, if somebody is at advanced age, if they have injury or some kind of physical disability where they cannot put their hands behind their back, then we will place the handcuffs either in front or we'll use what's called flex cuffs. An officer can make the decision per APD policy not to restrain someone, but if that's the case, 2 officers must be present during the transport. But again, based off of Silva's aggressive behavior or violent behavior and her current mental health status, or the state of her mental health at the time, what officers believe might be a crisis, they made the decision to protect her and others by trying to detain her in handcuffs. Any questions?
So you said a mental health officer responded to the scene. Can you walk us through what the difference is between an MHO and there's also crisis officers, right? What's the difference between those two?
So our department has mental health officers who go through a certain amount of training to help and deal with somebody that they believe might want to harm themselves or others. And so they will come to the scene, they will talk to somebody, they will assist with getting them, to a nearby hospital or the help that they need. The crisis intervention team is a specialized unit, so they will actually do the follow-up with mental health situations. So we do have officers, luckily they utilize those resources in this situation. Again, just trying to get Silva the help that she desperately needed.
And not all officers are mental health officers, or are they all mental health
No,
officers?
not all of them are. Officers do receive training in mental health, but there are particular officers that are called mental health officers that have extra training and they have been certified as such.
I don't really know anything about this incident, but I'm wondering why is there a press conference on this instance? It seems pretty cut and dry.
We just received a lot of media requests and attention regarding this particular incident, and we just wanted to be transparent, put it out there that, officers did attempt de-escalation techniques. They did their due diligence to try to help somebody who is having, obviously, a mental health crisis. So we're not always there as officers to arrest somebody. We're there to make sure that everybody's safe, and if somebody needs help, that's what our ultimate goal is, and that's ultimately what happened in this particular case. The officers did a great job of using de-escalation techniques, utilizing a mental health officer, and then also calling a female officer to assist.
What was the timeline like between the first call and between the arrest? How long did you try to engage with this person?
We do have video of this particular incident, and we do have a timeline. I'm not going to release that information at this point in time, but officers did respond on scene fairly quickly. Again, when you get any type of call where somebody, you get multiple calls in that somebody's being aggressive and might actually be striking someone, officers are going to respond and make sure that everybody's safe.
Can you walk us through, like, if everything had gone right, where would Tanya Silva have been taken at that point?
I mean, it depends on your definition of right,
If she hadn't resisted.
Right, as, being a police officer, you have to be prepared for anything. So the ultimate goal, again, is to get somebody the help they need. So in this particular situation, I don't think you can say right or wrong, because she ultimately, whether she went to jail or whether she went to a hospital, she's gonna receive the help that she needs.
Would she have gone to ASH if?
There's different hospitals that we utilize, and we won't release where people are going because we don't want to affect her personal privacy.
And you said it started off as a missing person call. Was Tanya Silva the missing person?
We do have information regarding the prior missing person report, but because still this is an ongoing investigation, we're not going to release the details of that case at this time.
Last question.
What previous involvement did APD have with the family?
We wouldn't release that information. Again, any type of involvement regarding her or the family is going to be part of the investigation. So we do have that information, but we're not going to release it at this time. Anything else?
Did she have prior charges?
Huh? Did she have? She wasn't arrested for a warrant, and we don't.